Welcome to Scream Queens Horror Movie Road Trip Podcast. That was one of your best screams yet. Good job, so. Final girl.
Thank you. Thank you, Soul Survivor.
That's your final girl, Justine.
Hi. And Soul Survivor over here to my left, always on my left.
That's me.
Mr. Josh.
Mr. Josh and Miss Justine coming at you live via I-40 in Arkansas.
It's live right now. Like, we're alive and we're on a road, but you're not listening to us live. But I love that you went reporter. I love that you went reporter. Like, we're here live on the case.
I didn't just go reporter. I went like hotshot reporter.
Oh, yeah. Like a Gale Weathers almost.
Exactly.
Yes. Give me Scream.
But like
not right now.
Yeah, we're not doing that. But we're on a great adventure. We're so excited. Like I said, we're on Interstate 40, heading through beautiful Arkansas right now, heading to Memphis, Tennessee to go to Graceland.
Oh yeah.
I'm all shook up. That's my best Elvis, and I'm sure you'll hear more throughout this episode.
Can't even help it.
But yeah, and guess what movie we're covering? Can you guess?
Do you even know? Hey, have you figured it out? What?
Tell me.
Tell me.
What's your first thought?
I
can't hear you.
Got it. No, wait, we're...
Oh, yeah, you got it.
You got it. I heard you in the back.
I heard you.
You said it. It's right. Yeah, Bubba Ho Tep. You're right. You're so right.
Episode 55, Graceland Adventure and Bubba Ho Tep.
Woo! We could go all the way. And we are. We're going all the way to Graceland so we can cover Bubba Ho Tep.
Yeah, we are very excited. Tomorrow we are scheduled for a VIP. That means a very important person.
Yes.
And that's going to be us tomorrow. We're going to feel very special on our VIP tour of Graceland, which is Elvis Presley's famous mansion. I'm sure you know.
Mm-hmm.
Not only are we getting to take a tour of his mansion, but Justine, tell them what else we've won.
We didn't win. We actually purchased
We had to pay for it. High dollar.
Well, it was a little more high dollar because, guys, you know, we're kind of like essential workers. We're teachers and admin, and so we got to keep ourselves protected. Wanted to make sure that we took a more private tour so that we, just cover our mouth up, cough in your elbow.
Masks are required right now for Graceland. They are also down to 25% capacity.
Yes. Our tour will be a very guided tour with an expert in all things Presley.
That means they have expertise.
That means that, like, if there were 5 people in the room and you said, does anybody know anything about this? And everybody was like, yeah. And then they said, I'm an expert. You would go to them.
Yeah, you'd be like, I'm talking to that guy or gal.
Because he would know the most, or she, or maybe they.
Or they.
We should just go with they.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to see.
Tell me your pronoun, please. Thank you.
We're going to see, but Elvis was a man. And we're going to see his mansion, his private planes and jets.
I can't wait.
We're going to see his bathroom. No, we don't get to go on the second floor.
Oh, we don't?
No, I heard...
Well, he did die on the toilet. Maybe so we don't get to see the toilet?
I guess you don't go on the second floor, and there's a rumor because Elvis is really still alive and living up there. And so they won't take you on the second floor.
Well, according to Bubba Ho Tep, he's alive and well, but living down in Nacogdoches, Texas, in a rest home.
Yeah, and we'll get to East Texas, and we'll get to that rest home.
Right now we're going to Graceland.
But we're on our way to Graceland.
See the king of rock and rolls.
Oh, we get to go not only to his house, we get to go to his Memphis Entertainment Complex, where there's an automobile museum. I'm assuming his, and not just everybody's automobiles. His entertainer museum, so I'm thinking maybe more fashion, maybe
honey.
What made his passion
with his passion
for his passion. Oh, and this one I'm really excited about, mainly because we love food so much.
Can you tell?
That we are so excited to go get some BBQ
at Vernon Smokehouse.
Named
after his papa.
Beloved papa. Actually,
Papa
I don't
Vernon
know.
Presley.
I don't really even know. Beloved. I mean, maybe they had an estranged relationship.
Well,
not quite sure.
Definitely grew up poor. I know he was closer to his mama. This is all. I'm a preschool teacher, and we do a music / rock and roll week.
Yeah,
and
we do.
I read about Elvis and
Sure do.
That's what I remember.
That's what you remember. Okay. Well, we'll learn more. On the flip side of this,
we can give you all the deeds.
We will ourselves be experts.
We will be experts by the time we leave.
Can give the guided tour.
Giving you bullshit information like, well, maybe he liked his dad.
But we also might be giving you bullshit information. Maybe he did like his dad.
Yeah, maybe he did.
I know that he loves banana and peanut butter, and I love banana and peanut butter.
Oh my God, maybe one of us is the reincarnated Elvis.
That's a possibility, and I know why. You know why it's a possibility?
And before you finish that, I've got to say, you are definitely like the younger Elvis, and I look more of like Elvis in his later years.
I'm pumped. Like, I want to have the
You have the dark hair,
yeah,
you can get the pompadour.
Yeah.
I could do the sideburns and wear like the leisure suits and the white jumpsuit.
Oh, okay. So
I'll be that Elvis.
Oh, so I'm more like Jailhouse.
You're
where
like
he
leather
has the
jacket Elvis.
Okay, yeah, I'm feeling it. Yeah, okay, yeah. I can go there.
We're cosplaying soon as Elvises.
In our bedrooms because it's COVID and barely anything's open. Okay, what else are we doing? Oh, there's a keepsake photo opportunity and we get a backstage pass.
We love a good photo.
I mean, we were going to get to have some photo ops come next month, but unfortunately,
Friday again has been canceled.
Has been completely canceled for 2020.
Yeah, no Frightmare in 2020.
So we
understand, but we're brokenhearted.
Yeah, we're looking into what to do next. And anyway, so that's all the news up front. I think.
We ready to talk about Bubba Ho Tep?
Yeah, I think they're newsed out. We're on our way to Memphis. Let's do this.
Yes, Bubba Ho Tep, directed by Don Coscarelli. I believe he wrote it based off a Bram Stoker's award-winning short story by Joe. What's his
R.
name?
Lansdale.
Joe R. Lansdale.
Joe R. Lansdale. So he wrote the short story, and then we got Coscarelli coming in like, I'm gonna write that screenplay.
And apparently it's a very faithful adaptation of the short story. I haven't taken the time to even read a fucking short story. God, I'm wasting my life.
You are.
Anyways, I hear it's really faithful adaptation. The author, whose name is Joe, I'm just gonna call him Joe.
Well, yeah, that's his name.
Loves the adaptation of the movie himself. I've listened to a whole commentary talking about how much he loved it.
Mm-hmm. I listened to a lot of that commentary and then I might have fallen asleep too. I was so tired. And we watched a lot of Bubba Ho Tep.
We love Bubba Ho Tep.
So Bubba Ho Tep is available on Tubi right now, but limited, so it won't be on there for too much longer. But we have the Screen Factories, so
they're worth it.
Blu-rays.
Really good discs.
All the goodies are in it, like all the supplementals, the featurettes,
all the supplements you could ever want
are bang loaded in this one, guys. It's a goody.
And of course, as you all know, this movie is starring Bruce Campbell as the one and only Elvis Presley.
/ Sebastian Haff. He plays two people in this.
That's right.
He's just the roles that Bruce Campbell takes on. He always is playing like two different guys. He's got Evil Ash and like just regular Ash and the Evil Dead.
Versatile.
Oh, I know he's versatile because he's also Daddy Bruce Campbell.
Sometimes he's a top, sometimes he's a bottom. It's just whatever he's feeling.
Whatever I'm feeling on whatever he's feeling. Daddy Bruce time. That's just for Mommy Steen and Daddy Bruce. Okay.
And this movie also has the legendary Ozzie Davis.
Oh my gosh, yes. The comedic relief he gives, as well as tons of exposition, is wonderful.
Yeah, he's so in this movie. Like, he's in on the joke. He's in it to win it. He's playing a man that's claiming to be a black JFK. He says he's been kidnapped and died.
Yeah, he's maybe had some kind of like brain surgery. Maybe they put his brain, and he even says they dyed me this way so that he wouldn't be able to convince anybody it was JFK.
And you don't really believe him in the movie, but you believe that he believes it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Bruce Campbell's actually really sincere and sweet to him. Just kind of goes along with like, yeah, man, you're JFK.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, you definitely get play in it where it's like, maybe yes, maybe it's not. Because also you have to believe that Sebastian Haff and Elvis switch places.
Right.
And so guess what? I'm down for the ride. I'm down for him being a brain transplant of JFK.
Yeah.
All of that. But he's hilarious. I love all the little practical effects. The makeup is great. This is a B movie. Was made for under $1 million.
Very indie.
And it's also very Don Coscarelli, like Phantasm franchise. He knows how to do camera work, and he knows how to pinch pennies.
And he loves like an element of fantasy, and he loves a dash of comedy. This movie is very comedic, but so even Phantasms has some good moments. And like Phantasm, there's also like a line of sincerity that runs through the movie.
Yeah, good, sweet relationships, and there's a certain sentimentality.
Because, like we are already telling you the premise, it's very over the top, but it's always kind of based in reality still.
Yes, and it's obviously grounded with characters who bring just a little bit of the reality, like the daughter that comes to the rest home that never bothered to see her father when he was alive, and we all kind of like know a version of a person like that, so they're real shitty.
His nurse.
Yes, his nurse, who is sometimes sympathetic towards him and other times condescending towards him. And yes, we get it that maybe he is just an old man who was an Elvis impersonator and is assumed that as his identity, or maybe not.
Yeah. I will say, though, that question of is he really Elvis almost seems more of a substantiated, like, yeah, he is Elvis. In this story, he is Elvis. But the Ozzie Davis, is he JFK, is a little bit more of a mystery.
Yeah, that's way more questionable.
But they are both kind of a question, but I feel like the movie is leaning more towards, like, yeah, he's really Elvis.
You gotta believe he's Elvis. If you want to believe he's JFK, great on ya.
I like to believe he's really JFK.
Yeah.
It makes it, like, just so much more fun. Like, oh, there's old Elvis and now a black JFK, and they're teaming up. It's like a weird buddy movie.
In the rest home, they're going on an adventure, and they're gonna, like,
kick evil's ass.
Yeah, defeat the mummy kind of Bubba, basically, that is going around the hallways of the rest home, taking all the lives of the old people. So that's the synopsis of the film.
So let's start at the beginning.
And there's also little cameos by Reggie Bannister, who was in Phantasm, and
most of the Phantasms, I believe.
Yeah, I think actually all of them, maybe. Let's see. Oh, there's also tons of just additional, like, actors, music that's done by Don Coscarelli. Like to work with the same people, so two of those people we get to see throughout the movie as the funeral home. Like they're the people that come and pick the bodies up in the hearse.
Yeah, they're hilarious, and you see them maybe 3 times.
Yeah.
They're always commenting on, like, one of them's always sad about having to be there and
always
contemplating
says
life.
Philosophical things, and the other one's like, put the hearse in the let's get this coffin in the hearse, let's go.
But yeah, when the movie starts, we first just get a credit that is very reminiscent of Pulp Fiction. It's like dissecting the title and breaking down the definition of what is Hotep, and it tells us that Hotep is the pharaohs that.
An Egyptian king.
Yeah, an Egyptian king from this generation, which of course was thousands of years ago. And then it's like Bubba, a man from the South, a cracker, gives all these
a good old boy. I like that. Gives us a little definition, like we didn't maybe know what it was, but here we go. And then we get a really funny, an old, like, 1920s or 30s newsreel of these German excavators, archaeologists that have pulled out they found not Tutankhamun, but
it's like his uncle.
Yeah,
it's like
the Hoteps or whatever, and they're pulling out these sarcophagus. They're gonna put them on a bus, put them on something from Cairo, bring them to America, put them on a bus, and circulate them around America. So that everybody can say, I've seen a mummy, I've seen an Egyptian pharaoh.
But things might go wrong. Do we find that out now or later?
We don't find that out now, but so we just find out that there's a mummy coming near you.
Yeah, there's a mummy coming to America that you can see at a museum.
And it's an old reel, so now time's gone by. We get our first shot of the shady Oaks rest home, and
it's a very depressing, like green and brown walls on the inside.
East Texas, it's just got a dinge to it, and you know it's gonna smell like mothballs inside, kind of thing. But yeah, it says present day, so that's kind of, we don't really know present day what it is, but in the future-ish.
All the elements of the movie, like with the score when we're seeing the rest home, and just how everything looks, the feel, the vibe is very like kind of Southern Gothic almost, or like very Southern. They're really trying to push that vibe of like small town, middle of nowhere, Texas.
Yeah, the music is like you're going to see tumbleweeds or something, just that twang, like wow, 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 like you're on the outskirts of town. Yeah. So we're at this like convalescence home for these old people, and the first person we meet is
Elvis.
Well, Sebastian Haff, or Elvis, and he is talking to himself.
And he's got things to say. He's very unpleased. He's very grumpy, and he's got a big
growth on his pecker.
I didn't want to say it.
He's got a big pus-filled
growth on the pecker.
We don't ever see it, thank God. But there is supposedly a pus-filled pimple that fills up daily, and he has to have himself a handy dandy by the nurse.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna sit here and try to rub one out until I bust. He basically says he's gonna masturbate until the pus busts.
Yes, it's so
and that is our introduction to Bruce Campbell as Elvis.
Old man grows.
Talking about the growth on his pecker.
He's got a growth on his pecker. If you could just say Scylla one last time.
Yeah, he's also, while he's laying there, he's pining for his old life and what might have been. He misses Lisa Marie. He wonders what things would be like with Priscilla if he saw her, would they still fuck, and
or would they just talk about it? The writing is
really funny,
awesome,
very witty.
Yes, the hilarity. It's honest in ways that you're like, okay, yeah.
Shocking enough to...
Yeah, it's like it took me back a little bit, made me laugh, and then I'll probably start using it as my next descriptor for...
Got a growth on my pecker.
Got a growth on my pecker. I don't have a pecker. Not yet. Okay, and he is watching his roommate, choke to death on his, own saliva spits.
And there's almost, a back-to-back of that sequence, because his roommate is, choking. Then he tells his backstory about how he used to be the real Elvis. Is that right there? Is that what happens?
Well,
going out of order?
It's okay, because it's all happening kind of at the same time. He's talking about it, and we meet the old lady Ethel, kind of lady who... steals the glasses from the other old lady in the iron lung.
Yeah, there's a scene, that's right. We see his friend choke. Then we cut to the scene of this old lady, Ethel, wandering around at night through the rest home.
And she looks so sweet. She's in her pink little a little zip up that I'm like, I've seen so many grandmothers in. Her hair's all rolled up. She got her sweet little steps that she's getting in at night, and then we see her walk over. We think she's
to another older lady in an iron lung.
Yeah, and we think, oh my gosh, that's her sweet. She's gonna go see her friend. Tell her good night.
Yeah, she's rubbing her forehead, talking sweet. Even the lady in the iron lung is like, oh.
I mean, this is what I imagine you and I would do if we were in some East Texas Shady Oaks rest home. I'd come see you in your iron lung.
Hi, but would you steal my glasses like Ethel
does?
Well,
one, no, because you're my best friend and I don't steal things from people. But two, same scripts, no.
Yep, that's what Ethel does. She rubs her forehead, acts like she's being sweet, takes her glasses and runs, or walks a little quicker away on her walker.
And she finds
She's
this
not even
cart.
On a walker, but...
She finds that cart that has flowers and candy, and it's obviously not hers, but now we know she's a thief, so she's just taking whatever she wants. She takes these chocolates off of there.
They're almost building her up to be unsympathetic, because something's going to happen to her soon. And they probably don't, but they're like, people don't really want to see old people just get killed by a monster, so let's maybe make her a little unsympathetic. Yeah,
she gets in her room, starts immediately going to town on some chocolates, and we see an Egyptian scarab bugs just scuttle across the ground.
And it's
like scurrying, but it is huge. It's like the size of, I'm trying to think, what would it be
like a dinner plate?
Yeah, almost. Like a dinner plate or a frisbee or something. It's big. It's huge. And she's immediately scared. And then her attention gets drawn to the corner of her little room, and we see Bubba Ho Tep.
Yeah, at first, my favorite little line, though, she says, she's like, I got you, cockroach.
I got you, cockroach.
Cockroach.
But do you have the 6-foot-tall mummy man in full, like, cowboy getup?
Yeah, it's pretty hilarious. His look is...
Chaps. Assless chaps, or he's just got chaps, but his ass is hanging out.
A kind of skeletal face, in a way.
Yeah, he's like, obviously that mummy dressing is on there, but it's to the point where, you know, he's so old that it's stuck to his bones, and he has a little vest thing, a little hat with a feather in it, and he is just a mummy cowboy.
And then it kind of cuts away and goes to Elvis laying in bed at night, and Elvis keeps having these weird moments where, like, time is just passing him by. He's kind of hallucinates there in bed, maybe because of his meds.
But yeah, he seems in a trance.
Yeah.
The camera works real, like, fast, sped up. The people look real robotic, and the nurses come in and out. You can tell time's dissolving. Next day, we meet our nurse.
Well, remember, though, he wakes up, though, that evening, and he sees Ethel, like, holding on to his door.
Oh, yes, that's right, yeah.
And he can't tell if, like, it's a
dream or not.
A dream. And so we see her get pulled away.
She's like, help me!
And then...
It reminds me a little bit of,
and
like...
And that's the sound effect they use.
That scene reminds me of, it's like a little homage to Craven with, like, A Nightmare on Elm Street, where Tina is, like, being dragged. It's not the same
just
at all.
Super fast.
But it's like, yeah, like, that's what it reminds me of.
It's kind of that new trope in horror movies where someone's, like, now they do it where someone's, like, face is right in the camera, looking at the camera, almost they get pulled back. This is more of, like, she gets pulled sideways and out of frame. But it's really cool. It's scary. And by the time he gets his glasses, there's nothing there. And it's kind of like one of those, like, all right, whatever, I'm going back to bed.
Can I say that scene right there scared my mom? I showed my mom this last night. She had never seen it. And she was, like, just eyes on it, like, what's going to happen? And that old lady got pulled to the side. And my mom had, like, a little thing of popcorn. And it, like, jolted her. And, like, the popcorn went flying. And the dog had to eat it. It was a moment of funny hilarity. She looked over at me and goes, whew, that scared me.
Oh, that's good. Good. I'm glad you got scared, Teresa.
Thanks, ma'am. Okay, well, thanks, Mom, for being scared at, like, Bubba.
Love you, Mama T.
You're the greatest. So she dies, we assume, and he wakes up, and we have, like, the nurse in there, and she's...
Well, then, like, doesn't he die? The roommate dies at some point.
Yeah, he had choked and died, and his daughter comes in and is kind of cleaning out.
That's
and
right.
She throws away stuff that anybody who really loved their parent and had a relationship would be keeping. His purple heart.
His purple heart. Oh, I forgot to mention the actor playing that character of the dad, or the old man that choked to death, is the same actor that bookends Saving Private Ryan. As the guy that does, like, the very stoic cry, like, you know, falls down at the grave. That's actually my least favorite parts of the movie.
Yeah.
But I'm a cynical bastard, but that's him. I didn't realize that until I IMDb'd him.
he got looked up.
He got looked up.
He got told. So we meet that shitty daughter, and she's basically like, if I didn't have Medicaid, he would have just been dead in an alleyway. So listen here, Mr. Old Man sitting next to me, don't you tell me about how I need to see my daddy. And Elvis like, well, if I could see my daughter, if I could see Scylla, and if I could see... Look, does he ever even call his daughter, like, Lisa Marie?
No,
or he just says my daughter? Okay.
Daughter.
Yeah. If I could see my daughter, if I could see Scylla. That just...
Scylla.
If I could see some Scylla. So he then tells them about how he is Elvis, and we get the full backstory on how Sebastian Haff became Elvis and Elvis became Sebastian Haff. Share with me, Josh.
He kind of was getting tired of, like, the everyday on the road scene, and he wanted his anonymity back. So he went and met this impersonator and I guess basically signed a contract with him like, hey, we can switch. Whenever I want my life back as being me, the true Elvis, we'll switch back. But there was a big accident in a trailer park that blew up the contract.
And this is a hilarious scene.
Yeah. It's like a effect of where, almost like a domino effect. Almost a Final Destination, like, you know, something knocks over something that pours out all this.
Yeah, we see the lighter fluid. Yeah. He's barbecuing with some friends. He's been, you know, in a trailer park for a couple years, knocks over that gasoline, and then his trailer explodes.
And it blows up the one next to it and next to it.
And he's like, oops, that was where my contract was, but I guess I don't have it now.
Well, then, poor guy falls off stage and breaks his hip. And that's, I guess, how he ended up, like, in the rest home or a nursing home.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a transition after you've had major surgeries, where you go to, like, a nursing home rehab facility, because you need someone to take care of you, basically.
Yeah. But the nurse was saying, you never got well. You've been doing this kind of stuff for almost 20 years.
Always saying you're Elvis.
Always saying you're Elvis. That's not the case.
You're just an Elvis impersonator. Well, then, as we all know, the fake Elvis died, so he's stuck as the impersonator.
Yeah, definitely nobody's going to believe him now. He didn't have his contract because, oops, he burnt it. All right, and then we get to meet Ozzie Davis as Jack.
Yeah, he kind of says, my only friend here is Jack, and he tells this wild story, which we already told you, that he was JFK, he was kidnapped after he was shot, they filled his brain with sand and dyed his skin, is what they said. But then later they kind of make it sound like maybe his brain was transplanted.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like not entirely sure on what, and I think maybe that was done on purpose too, as you
like
know,
he can't really explain
his
how
story
that.
straight,
Yeah, like he can't corroborate the fact
he
that
died or was
like,
his brain transplanted.
So we meet Jack, and we see that they have a loving friendship, and that they might not remember each other all the time as well. That's one of the things, is like that they are losing their memories and losing maybe the parts of them that once made them who they were. Because he walks in and he says, and I know it's also because he's supposed to be JFK, but he's like, the lady that they have acting like my niece, like,
yeah,
that's so sad, because his niece would have been like going and visiting him for years and years and years, but the older he gets, the more his mind goes away. It's the lady who's that they're pretending to be my niece took me to the library. And JFK is like our sleuth. He always goes to the library and finds out the information for Elvis, checks out the library books. You can tell he's like, he likes to do the detective work. Yeah.
Elvis is more like just observation.
Yeah,
like
he'll put the things together.
Yeah, he's just checking things out, putting it together.
And you also kind of think that maybe he is connecting with Bubba Ho Tep, because he has visions of him, and Bubba Ho Tep, that we're just about to talk about, is gonna like walk by and share a vision with him. So there seems to be some kind of connection to the nether world, you know, beyond.
Yep.
That connects Elvis with.
And there's
Bubba
another
Hotep.
Disturbance that night, right?
Yeah.
After dinner, they're all eating. That we get introduced to Kiwasabi.
Yeah, we get introduced to Kiwasabi as friends, but that night, Elvis is trying to go to sleep. He wakes up, he goes to go potty, and
Kiwasabi thinks he's like the Lone Ranger or something. Like he has that Lone Ranger mask on. He's always carrying these fake little guns.
Yeah.
These little hip holsters.
He cosplays almost like he's like a little boy. He reminds me a lot of the what's his name, Mike TV on
101 Dalmatians. Oh
no, on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Yeah,
Mike
TV.
Yeah.
But he's obviously a very old man. But that's what he kind of reminds me of, walking around with his gun holsters and Kiwasabi. But that night we have Elvis trying to go sleepy. Then he wake up and go potty, and he sees
he goes sleepy.
He go sleepy. He go potty, and then he sees a box of chocolates.
Yeah, what's up with the chocolates? Like these cockroaches love chocolates. Bubba, so how I guess old people love chocolates, and
that's how Bubba Ho Tep
like,
gets in.
It's like, come on, you want to eat these chocolate.
Yeah, so he opens them up, and there's just this cockroach, but we know it's an Egyptian scarab, and it's chasing them all around the room. There's comic relief. There's so much of this that kind of reminds me, in a way, of like Sam Raimi, like Evil Dead.
Exactly. It does have that like just wacky vibe. He gets the cockroach with his bedpan. At one point, like, it gets into his heater unit, and he forks it. And
fries it up.
I don't know how he doesn't fry himself. He does a little bit, but it doesn't have any lasting effects.
Yeah.
No lasting effects with Elvis.
It's very, but that scene is just so reminiscent of, like, things made that, you know, Bruce Campbell's just known for being able to do. He really uses his body, like, to act. He's a physical actor, and, like, he doesn't often use a stunt double, so it's funny to just see him at work as an old man, you know, like playing around with this scarab thing hiding in a bedpan.
And I honestly think he's kind of the best on-screen Elvis.
Yeah.
Of anyone that's ever portrayed him, because I can't really even think of others other than, like, you know, bit parts and, like, Walk the Line. There's, like, a guy playing Elvis for a hot second, or, you know, Kurt Russell in the Elvis movie from the late 70s. I mean,
it's not some touched on too much.
Yeah. Not
too many people cover or want to play.
I know Jonathan Rhys Meyers played him at one point. I remember that miniseries, but he was made for this part of Elvis and Bubba Ho Tep.
Yes, this was all for him. It's all for you, Damien. Okay, so Elvis, after the attack, goes to Jack's room, and we get a funny
Jack's laying on the floor.
Jack's laying on the floor, but, like, we get to see Jack's bedroom, and it's nothing but, like, mugshots of, like, Jack, Ruby, and Lee Harvey Oswald. There's, like, Jackie Kennedy's portrait in there.
Yeah.
It's so funny how it also looks very presidential. There's a scene later where Jack picks up his phone in his room, and it's a red phone. Yes. Like, it's so funny.
All
he wants so bad to, he's the president. And Elvis even starts calling him Mr. President.
Yeah, Mr. President.
Mr. President, we need to get to work. And so he finds him on the floor. He's like, oh no, what happened? And Jack says, I was attacked from behind. I don't know, somebody tried to go after my asshole.
He's gonna steal your soul through your a-hole. That was like a tagline of the movie.
Yeah. So they're like, what? Like, what's going on? He's like, I don't know. I was just attacked from behind, and they tried to go for my asshole.
And then they hear a ruckus out in the hall, right? And they go out there, and this is when they see Kemosabe and Bubba Ho Tep kind of facing off.
Yeah, and
Kemosabe's got his gun, and he thinks he's shooting him, but he's another victim of Bubba Ho Tep.
No, Kemosabe's not the victim of Bubba Ho Tep. It's his roommate that is, and he's going after him. The roommate had already been killed.
Yeah.
And so he actually doesn't. And I rewatched that because I thought that too, and I was like writing it down. As I was writing it down, Elvis goes, and he left with his soul intact. And they had just talked about how...
he died, right?
He does die.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
but he doesn't become a victim of Bubba Ho Tep. He dies of a heart attack. And they're like... There's just like Elvis is talking over, and he's like, we didn't know how we were going to tell the Shady Oaks people, and this is when we get the cameo of Reggie Bannister that comes in, and he's acting like a rest home.
He's like, we'll get the exterminators out here.
Yeah, he's like, these big bugs, there was a problem, but Kemosabe got scared, ran down the hall, and had a heart attack, because they were like, how are we going to tell him that a mummy was in the hallways, and he chased after him. But the other friend was found down the hall with his asshole, or with his soul sucked out of his asshole.
And then we get our comic relief of the two bumbling, I guess, rest home, or funeral home caretakers. And there's one scene when they're bringing someone out where they totally drop the body over the railing into a bush, and they're just idiots. One's always being existential, like I said, like, what, this person led a life? What kind of,
what it must have been to, like, die I think it was when Kemosabe, because they're like, to die in your, like, little outfit or whatever. They do always have a funny...
And then the other guy's like, shut up!
Get in here! The one that's always being philosophical is the music supervisor for this movie.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, and he also is music supervisor for later. He does for the Phantasm. What is it called? Ravager?
Yes.
Yeah, that's one. Whatever that one is, that's what he does. Okay, here we go. It's now nighttime, and we have our nurse lady out for a little smoky smoke.
And she sees something going off in a shed. There's like all these lights going off. Giving a strobe effect.
She knows something got to do with something, and she does the right thing and just walks her ass off. She's like, I'm not going in there. I'll tell the admin guy that the lights are fucked up and he needs to work on it.
He had already gotten on to her for standing out there. He's like, so-and-so needs their enema. She's like, I'm going to finish my cigarette first, sir.
Before I got to go give Elvis his fucking handy dandy that he gets a boner for. Don't you come for me with your
Is this now when Elvis
boner?
goes down to the river?
It's getting there.
Okay.
It's getting there. So she leaves, but we stay by the shed.
That's right.
And we see another old victim, and Bubba Ho Tep leaves. He's in his cowboy boots. We know it's him,
yeah.
But he's sucked another asshole.
Steal their souls through their a-holes.
And that's exactly what Jack and Elvis surmise, is that he's going after the old people because they're easy pickings. Jack gives this book that he found at the library, and it's like, I think I found out what we need to do. We gotta...
And he shows him those hieroglyphs in the bathroom.
Yeah.
That's a really funny moment, because he's like, it says like Cleopatra, like...
It's bathroom banter, but written in hieroglyphs.
Cleopatra gives hand jobs, or
yes.
just something randomly
like so-and-so was like here, Hotep was here, and Cleopatra sucks dick.
Yeah, basically, something along the lines. But it's pretty hilarious.
And
it gave me a big laugh.
Yeah, he's like, so just like in old times when you need to take a shit, you gotta have something to write, something to read, something to do, and you want to shit talk on the toilet. He also finds a newspaper clipping that verifies that there was some kind of bus that toured around in West Texas, and it went missing after it had been stolen by people that wanted to steal the sarcophagus. And we get a flashback to when Kemosabe was shooting up Bubba Ho Tep.
Yes.
Bubba Ho Tep made eye connection with Elvis and gave him like a vision of...
It's that psychic connection you were talking about.
Yeah. And we see this psychic connection happen, and he tells him, yeah, I was basically this like Pharaoh guy who was murdered by this crazy priest, and now I'm a sarcophagus, and you guys pulled me out, you brought me over here, I was stolen, my bus was
fell
off of a bridge, and it disappeared. Nobody ever found the bus, but now I have crawled out of my sarcophagus,
and I'm pissed.
Going around and sucking assholes.
I need to get a soul.
Asshole sucker.
And he apparently has to suck a lot of souls because the people are old.
Yes.
And I guess old people have, what, a dimmer soul? I don't know.
Small souls or short souls or something. Yeah, like they don't have very
much. Yeah. Anyways, he needs more, but he figured the best place to suck souls is from a rest home.
Old people's
assholes. You
assholes.
wouldn't believe how many guys have tried to suck my soul through my asshole. I'm just kidding.
I mean, daily.
On the daily.
Daily, it's like...
I'm a hot piece of ace.
He's a hot guy. He got a hot ass. You gotta spank it.
Show some sass.
And show some sass. Okay, so...
Anyways, moving on.
Yeah, that was so
ridiculous.
Weird that we talked about your hot ass. Okay, next day, after they get to see the toilet, he's like, all right, let me go to that bridge.
Can I talk about how this is kind of my favorite scene? I mean, it's not my favorite scene, but it cracks me up.
That he gets down there?
How he gets down there. And it takes him like a good 30 seconds to a minute. And the camera just follows him the whole way as he's with his walker trying to get down this hill.
Yeah,
and he's fumbling.
Just
and
some old
the
ass
walker
man.
is going all over the place. And it just keeps going with him until he's finally at the bump. But it cracks me up.
It's like that old man pride.
He does it perfectly. Like his physical
there.
comedy of getting down there is because it seems so authentic and real too. You're like, oh, this old man should not be going down this hill right
And he
now.
doesn't ever fall, but he teeters so much. Like, you're like, oh my God, am I about to see the old man fall?
And then he goes down there, of course, finds the bus.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so...
It was just right there.
A bus that went missing that had, I would imagine, like, if these sarcophagus, like, they are worth something.
Right,
like their historical value, and people didn't want to go look at the bridge that clearly if the bus just off the bridge you're gonna have some damage, right?
At least a guardrail skid mark,
but
no,
so he finds it though.
And the funny thing is it just cuts to him being back at the the rest home, and I'm like, how did he get back up that hill?
We don't even bother. Yeah, it was like too much just to see him go down. Like, we don't want to see him come up.
They're like, probably wouldn't really make it back up.
I love though that how we know that we found the bus is that there is just simply a floating license plate that says,
maybe like a hubcap that you see or something.
It says bus on it.
Yeah.
The license plate just says bus.
Like, that's it.
That's it. Oh, also, so California never looked so East Texas.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's obviously not Texas whatsoever.
There's so many palm trees all throughout this.
They tried.
They tried, but like, and yeah, there are parts of Texas that look like they have palm trees and stuff, but we're talking southern Texas.
Or like East Texas, yeah.
Like East Texas, not so much that I know of. I'm
like
sure we're gonna have some
Houston
East
area
Texans
and
that
has some palm trees.
yeah, but that's
Austin,
way
maybe,
south. Okay, guys, so it was filmed all in California, most in LA, but they're just trying to pass it as
Nacogdoches, Texas.
TX.
You just gotta go with it. If you can go with JFK and Elvis battling mummies, then I guess the filmmakers they'll believe it's Texas.
Yeah, and I went there just because we just have the floating license plate to let us know. There was a small budget going on here, so we're not going to have some submerged bus that gets pulled out. And nope, none of that's going to happen. But we found the bus that corroborates everything that we know so far. Back to the rest home. Here we go.
And they're going to battle some demons tonight, or some mummies tonight.
Yes, they prepare themselves. They take a nap. The old men take a nap, and Jack and Elvis prepare themselves. We have this little. I love this scene because it's a lot in like horror movies that we see the montage of preparing all of your get your guns, get your belts together with your gasoline, and they stole from the shed the pesticide sprayer thing that they fill up with gasoline that they want to douse the mummy in. They've written their incantation.
They're ready. They're ready to rock and roll. And the funny thing is when it finally push comes to shove, it's very realistic of how like two old men would really it's not like a movie where it's like all of a sudden they have these tricks up their sleeves that they're like fighting this mummy off.
No.
First they get out there and they're just watching. And there is this really eerie shot where he's panning like the yard, and you're following his POV, and he stops and he stares straight ahead, and all of a sudden you see Bubba Ho Tep kind of just slowly coming out of the shadows.
Yeah, Elvis. Yeah.
Elvis sees that.
And also a part of their, them getting ready is Jack puts on his 3-piece presidential suit, and then Elvis puts on his jumpsuit.
Yeah, and you get this awesome shot of them walking slow-mo down the hall. He's in a scooter. JFK's in a scooter. Jack.
Yeah. Elvis has got a walker. Jack's on the scooter. It's an automatic one, so he's just pushing the little button to make him go.
It's like their badass, we're warrior shot. It's hilarious.
I love it. And they are just out there in that little forested area. There's lots of trees, but there's also, it's spotty. There's a tree and the open area tree. Enough that where you mistake the mummy for maybe a tree at first, and they're like, oh no, there he is.
And he slowly comes out of the shot. It's a really effective shot. It's good.
Game on. I love that. Also, the music kind of changes. It's not as Western. It's more like metal. It's like... that's a terrible me.
Justine was in a hardcore metal band.
I was for several years.
That was their number one hit. It's like that video that guy's like.
Oh my gosh. God, YouTube.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, if you know, you know, and if you don't know, just
don't worry about it.
Just look up. on YouTube. Okay, so we have this showdown between Jack, Bubba Ho Tep, and Elvis. And Jack gets hit first. I also love, because this is so Bruce Campbell, that Elvis knows like Kung Fu, and he's trying so hard with his hips.
It's like bad Kung Fu.
It's
it's
the
hilarious.
worst.
Because Elvis supposedly was into Kung Fu too, so.
Yeah. He's got his walker, using it as a shield jack. He's ramming into Bubba Ho Tep with his little scooter. And chasing after him with the scooter. And Bubba Ho Tep is not fast. He's a mummy.
Yeah,
so.
He's not that in shape himself.
But Bubba Ho Tep can use his powers, and he'll like disappear and then reappear behind a tree. That's kind of how he knocks over Jack out. And oh my God, when Ozzie Davis falls out of his scooter,
no.
I'm like hardcore, like old man hurt. Like, no, how dare you?
I just want to cradle his body.
I do.
And put him over my lap like Michelangelo's
next to my breast.
Like Michelangelo's Pietà.
Oh yeah, like you're the Virgin Mother.
Yes, Virgin Mother and child.
Holding Christ, child. Oh,
that's how I felt. Anyways,
that's how
in the
you
moment,
felt?
yeah.
That you wanted to hold Ozzie Davis like Mary,
like the Pietà.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to be a little statue.
I was just so moved by him falling.
I want to hold that old man as he's falling into his forever sleeps.
The sweet baby Ozzie Davis.
But we see Elvis, because he loves Jack so much, he's like going for him in his walker. So Jack's scooter gets knocked back, and it's like now going in reverse. So Jack just waits for it to show, or Elvis waits for it to show up, and then Elvis sits in the chair, goes forward back to Jack.
Very convenient and hilarious.
It's so funny.
I keep using the word hilarious, but the movie is hilarious.
It is hilarity. It is funny.
Especially if you just go with it. Like, if you're in it for the premise, then
there's a lot of slapstick.
You'll find it funny.
It's fun. It's humorous.
Yes.
You're along for the ride. Just go with it. So we get a sweet little goodbye between Jack and Elvis, because although Elvis beats up the Bubba Ho Tep for the moment, he lights him on fire.
Yeah.
He doesn't save Jack, and Jack gives him the incantation and is like, love you, boo, forever, R.I.P., bye-bye. And then we get another little showdown between Elvis and Bubba Ho Tep, and they have their little hieroglyphics talk.
Yeah, that's funny.
Bubba Ho Tep tells Elvis to suck his dick of Anubis and wipe his ass or something. It's really funny, and it's all told in little hieroglyphs.
I love all the hieroglyphs, how they play with that throughout the movie, because it's going to come in again one last time at the end.
One last time. So one last time they have a little showdown, and he lights him on fire more, like he douses them, and they're over there by that bridge, the creek area, over by that bus.
Right.
He's trying to get him by the bus so that he's by his...
Here, Bubba, Ho Tep.
And he
here,
does
kitty.
fall down that creek bed this time, because that's how he punctures his lung.
Yes, that's what was not shot. I remember there was a wound.
Yeah, and he knocks over the gasoline and douses all of Bubba Ho Tep, and he's having a hard time breathing because his ribs poking out of him. Gets him lit up, and the souls start coming out of Bubba Ho Tep, and we realize okay, that's coming to an end.
Those are asshole souls.
Asshole souls. They look like assholes too. They're like little round assholes.
Little star
souls.
fruits.
Yeah,
little brown winking star
ones.
fruits.
Yeah, just winking right at us as they
ruby star fruits.
as they give their last little wink before they dissipate into.
It's like pink flamingos. Chicka wow wow.
Bow, chicka, wow, wow.
The singing asshole.
Singing assholes, but these are dissipating assholes, smoky assholes.
Going to their final resting place.
And Bubba Ho Tep is no more. He dead. And Elvis.
Girl, bye.
Saying goodbye to Priscilla.
Oh, it's actually an oddly sentimental moment.
I don't mind it.
Yeah, I don't mind it either. Kind of wraps it up all nice.
Bubba Ho Tep even sends him a message in the sky in hieroglyphs and tells him all is well. All the souls are where they need to be, and you've done your best.
And he kind of smiles and then dies.
Au revoir.
So they could never make a sequel, but I hear there's been like a prequel in the works forever.
Evers and ever, and it's about like Nosferatu.
Yeah, it's called Bubba Ho Tep, Nosferatu, or something along those lines.
Maybe we'll get it.
Nosferatu's in the title. Or
But
I think Elvis versus Nosferatu, I can't remember.
Yeah. And at the end, after we get roll the credits have the little hieroglyphs to go along with everybody's name, and Don Coscarelli pops up, and
it's not a perfect movie by any means. It's very flawed, but even with its flaws, it still kind of works.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah,
we're still
we're almost to Little Rock.
Yeah.
And then we have about 3 more hours, I think, after that, 2.5, 3 to get to...
We're walking in Memphis!
I'm so excited to get to Memphis. It's a town or a city we drive through all the time when we're heading to the East Coast, but we've never really had the opportunity to stop in and check it out.
But we're going to be here 3 nights, and we're not going to just go to Graceland. We're going to visit Beale Street and visit where the Lorraine... where Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated.
Also
and,
Sun Records.
Yes, and we are going to eat up some amazing barbecue. We plan to try to eat at the oldest barbecue restaurant in Memphis if we can get a table. I mean, under COVID, maybe we'll have to Postmates, but we want to have Memphis ribs.
Yeah, and that one place you just mentioned was a place apparently Elvis.
Oh, Colettis, yes.
Frequented, and there's like an Elvis
There's an
room.
Elvis room, yeah.
So
we're
trying to do all the Elvis
that.
stuff, going to Sun Records, like we said, and where he recorded. Just doing all the Elvis stuff and barbecue stuff and COVID-19 stuff, meaning like staying in our hotel room a lot, watching Shark Week, and eating barbecue.
Being responsible, wearing our masks, washing our hands, watching out for others.
Yeah,
because
take care of each other, guys.
We want to come back and we want to do Halloween. But okay, here we go. I'm going to push the stop button. We'll see you guys in 2 seconds. See ya. Bye.
Bye. Hey, we're back.
Hey, we made it. We're back in the car on our way home.
We sure is. Baby. Yep. Anyways,
taking care of business.
We are on Interstate 40 West in Arkansas. We're about an hour outside of Memphis, and we just had the best time at Memphis and at Graceland and doing all that shit.
It's a little treasure, guys. It's a little gym. You need to go.
Yeah, we arrived on a Friday night, left on a Monday morning.
And we packed in quite a lot of stuff, but, I mean, the main thing, we got to ride on Saturday. And then we got up, had ourselves a little bit of coffee, and then made ourselves to Graceland.
Yeah, I didn't realize how close Graceland is to Memphis. I thought it was like a little further out in the country. I didn't realize was maybe 10 minutes from our hotel. Yes,
it was just down the street, and the house is off a pretty busy road.
Yeah, it was. But it was pretty empty for this time of year. Weirdly enough, we showed up and didn't realize we were there for Elvis week. He died April 16th, 43. August, what did I just say?
April.
Yeah, it's definitely not April. It's hot AF outside.
No, it's August.
August 16th, 43 years ago. And they celebrate every year for a week leading up to that anniversary. And we were there the night they were going to do, or the day that they were going to have the vigil later that evening. Yes. There were already flowers from around the world being sent in around his grave. It was a really cool time to be there. But on top of that, because of COVID, there was no one there.
Yes.
I mean, there were people there, but it was very empty. We had told you before it was 25% capacity, but
I don't even know if there were 20. They obviously weren't at 25% capacity.
That parking lot was empty.
Yeah, we pulled up and it was like
second row.
Yeah, basically front row parking. We had our run of the mill, or not run of the. We had our run of the place. It was we made videos, and you and I were the only people in the welcome area where there's this big, sign, Elvis Presley.
Welcome to Graceland, Elvis Week, all this stuff. There's no one out there taking pictures, just us. That being said, there were times when people in our own tour group, we were like, put that mask back over your nose, bitch. Things like that. But
some people got comfortable.
Yeah, some people in our tour group, which was, there were 9 of us in a group, so.
Some people trying to take advantage, trying to see how far they can go against the limits.
But we weren't having it. We were keeping our distance from the people in our tour group. I had brought in a little thing of hand sanitizer, and I swear every 5 minutes I was like, Justine, here's some hand sanitizer.
Yeah, we were like touching something, putting hand sanitizer on, holding up the tour because we were making sure that we got cleaned. It's just in life, guys. Right now, there's people that take it seriously and people that don't. So we had our little mixture in our group. And yes, in Tennessee, it's a mandate and everybody needs to wear them. But you know, good old boys want to just break the rules, and good old girls, it seems. You know who you are, ma'am. If you're listening, you were in our group.
Older woman with her nose sticking out of her mask the whole tour.
The whole time.
Shame
I know the shape of that woman's nose better than.
But other than that, it was really neat. Graceland itself is a hoot and a holler. It's it's like the most retro 70s aesthetic monument.
Yes, it's lavish,
that I've ever seen.
But it's of a time, and you definitely.
You walk in and you're in a time warp for sure. Like the kitchen reminds me of just like kitchens from when I moved into my house like 20, 30 years ago. You know, things like that. Like how houses looked when I was really little,
but like the newest of that time. You know, like
it was like the state of the art
stuff, but it's like 1972's kitchen, even though it has like, you know, the best Kenmore or whatever appliances. You're like, woo, look at that.
And it's sectioned off. Like you walk in, and to your right is this very grand white living room, and there's these peacock stained glass windows that separate. It's like this piano room.
Yeah,
with
you have the little
beautiful
music
grand
room.
Piano.
White.
And everything's
all
white. And then to your left is the dining room. And then there were some bedrooms in the back where some people stayed.
That was where his mom.
Yes.
Yeah, and her room was like all purple, and you got to see that, you know, like her bed sheets and everything, and her drapes were all purple. But there was a second floor, and it was roped off. We were not allowed to go up there because I guess that's where a lot of the family, when they stay,
where they live.
Made residences taken up there. So,
but we got to see his kitchen, which we were saying was it was all that like dark wood. Everything was like dark wood cabinets and countertops and very 70s. And then from there we went downstairs to this all yellow like basement that had like 3 TVs set up, because they talked about how back then there were only 3 channels, so
it's
he could watch
like
every
a man
channel.
Cave.
Yeah, but he didn't drink, but there's a big bar, so it was kind of like a BYOB at Elvis's place.
Yeah, and he would have a lot of candy back there. Those would be his bars, would be like nothing but all kinds of like sweet little treats and stuff. And then we
went up to the jungle room.
Gosh, that jungle room is a sight to see. I mean, there's carpet on the
Top.
walls. There's carpet on if there's not mirrors on the ceilings, there's carpet on the ceilings.
There's like this green carpet, shag carpet on the floor and the ceiling. Everything's green. There's tiki touches everywhere.
The staircase to get up, there's all those mirrors.
And there's kind of monkey statues and porcelain statues all throughout the house, which is kind of funny. He loved monkeys.
Had a look, and we got to go to his racquetball and entertainment area.
Don't forget the billiard room that was like tapestry from ceiling to wall.
Yeah, like
with like over 1,000 pleats or something in it.
Like
it was
just
insane.
Yards and yards and yards of fabric pleated to make it look like some kind of like Maharaja. Like it was really interesting.
We got to go to the racquetball room, like you said, like his little.
And there was like he had like an entertainment, like where he would have like a pinball and another area for bars, and like a lot of places for him to play music, and lots of like hidden cameras that obviously we could make out were like those boxy looking cameras, but that he loved to know where everybody was in his home all the time. Little surveillance TVs. The king took care of his crib, his palace.
He loved it. He made it specifically for himself and his needs and his horniness. Apparently those cameras, he would watch out for girls on the street and have them sent up to Graceland.
Yes.
If he saw one he liked.
Oh, how wonderful. And he had originally bought Graceland for his mom, and then even after her passing, when asked, well, will you keep it? He was like, well, yeah, I'm going to keep it as long as I can. And then it became his home.
I thought she was the last one to live there. Gladys, no.
No, there was
they said someone they said someone outlived them all and lived there till 1981. Maybe it was another. I thought it was.
Well, Minnie, or maybe it was grandmother's, and Minnie May. I remember them talking about how, like, when she died, he was like, yeah, I'm going to keep Graceland as long as I can. There was that whole video display where he was being interviewed by somebody.
That's true. I can't. Something. You get fed. Like, we were on this VIP tour for like 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
No joke, not exaggerating. So we were fed a lot of info.
Or maybe it's for his mom and dad, and Vernon died.
Yeah, we did learn, like we talked in the first part, he was close to Vernon. Vernon worked for him, like the Presley Foundation and the big old office area.
Yeah.
Lived at the house quite a bit.
We got to go into a secret location and touch artifacts. We got to hold the sheriff's badge that...
Yeah, apparently he got deputized and sheriffitized. Honorary sheriff.
A lot of states.
A lot of places.
And counties and cities all around America. So
we got to put on white gloves and touch one of the badges. We got to touch it.
I was touching.
I got to touch it.
We wore white gloves and we walked around the rest of the day with those white gloves. No,
we didn't.
We took them
We got
off.
to take one of those goofy,
yes,
like really touristy photos where it's like on a green screen and they put like Graceland behind you, a day, night,
like
different positions.
It was
hilarious.
like superimposed on there, and then there's one where it's Graceland, but like we're
like
as
giants.
tall as the pillars that are holding up the
I was like,
front
they
of
didn't
Graceland.
size that well.
No, it's funny, but we did get one of those, and they had like 5 different backdrops. It was so funny.
We loved it.
Cheesy, loved it to bits. We got to see his cars, got to see that pink Cadillac.
Famous pink Cadillac. We got to see all his jumpsuits. They had like an area that just had all his jumpsuits.
An area of all of his gold records that, I mean, the room is just shiny.
And they say every year there's more that are added because he's always on the charts.
And that, like, they only showed 20% of his awards because they would just take up way too much space.
Yeah, filled up an already huge wall.
He's the king. I guess that's what they say. That's what they're saying on the Elvis tour over and over again. It was really hot though, so I'm so glad that most of this tour was in an air-conditioned area.
Inside,
Even our little VIP lounge that we got to wait in while our shuttle bus, because we didn't have to walk as VIP, we got a little shuttle bus take us from the entertainment center to the mansion.
This was special.
We saw the planes. There was like a jet and just a regular old airplane, but obviously he flew private. He didn't have to worry about sitting next to anybody he didn't know.
Yeah. He didn't want to get that gold lame suit dirty.
Oh yeah, no, not for him. We got to. Oh my gosh, I did crack up that he had that huge, like, 15-foot portrait of himself.
Yes.
And it just kind of was very like Elvis. Like, you know, he grew up so poor that even though he gave so much to charity, he couldn't help but, like, you know, I'll never be poor. He had his own little, like, a Scarlett Johansson Tara moment.
Scarlett Johansson Tara moment.
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett O'Hara.
Scarlett O'Hara moment where
I'll
she's like,
I'll
never be poor again. So that's all right, Elvis. I don't begrudge your wealth. You're very charitable.
And then we also got to go to Sun Studios.
Yes, the next day we were like, I'm not done with this Elvis.
Oh yeah. Like, we had to see more. We had to see where it all began. It's where he recorded first, and I think That's All Right Now, Mama might have been recorded.
That's all right now, Mama.
Justine is working on becoming an Elvis impersonator. She's really good. She can curl that lip, and I'm not talking about her mouth lip.
I'm talking about,
some wop.
My wop lips. Like, oh my God. I can't even believe I said that. The lips part. Like, not wop. Wop it up, ladies. We need it. Okay. So, the rest we did other things while we were in Memphis. An amazing barbecue, especially the ribs.
Oh my God, yeah, we went to Central's Barbecue, COVID style, wearing our masks and sitting far from people.
Yes. Thankfully, a lot of the businesses were following COVID measures to a T, asking us,
taking our temperatures,
have we been exposed, getting our phone numbers, so bravo, Memphis. You try to keep them numbers down. And we also ate some yummy breakfast at Hustle and Dough.
Yeah, we ate there twice. It was so good.
Had amazing bourbon infused coffee, cold brew, and then we had a cortado with that same bourbon infused. We were obsessed with that. Oh my gosh, we ate at Bishop, which was the restaurant at our hotel.
We had some Dutch babies and this Peach Boy drink that was also infused with bourbon, but it had espresso and peach syrup in it.
And they made the syrup there.
And a splash of soda.
Oh my God.
So imagine that. Espresso, soda, peach syrup, and a little bourbon.
How dare you?
Amazing.
It was
Peach
amazing.
Boy, my new favorite breakfast drink.
We capped the evening off last night with a visit to a park in Mud Island that we found. We loved it.
We were there a couple times and hiked and
got our steps in.
Got our fitness in.
Then we rewarded ourselves with 3 different types of cheesecakes that we took on a picnic.
Absolutely true.
It was needed. It was necessary. It was what it took to get the job done.
And we watched the sunset over the Mississippi, and it was so beautiful and delightful.
And I was like, hey, Memphis. And I curled my lip. Yes, I did.
Yeah, it really was a great little 3 nights vacation.
3 nights vacation.
It was much needed. Memphis turned out to be way cooler than I even realized. I've always liked Nashville. We've even stopped in Nashville a few times, but we've only driven through Memphis before, so it was really great to get to explore that city and see what it's about. And I'd like to come back and see what more of it's about.
Oh, we're gonna have to come back and visit real soon.
We went to Beale Street, of course. I'm sure we're leaving some things out.
Yeah, we went to Beale Street. Went to the Civil Rights Museum. That's through the Smithsonian at the Lorraine Hotel.
Yeah.
We did lots of fun, and also we learned.
Yeah, we got to learn some things.
Cultured.
And open our hearts and minds, and we did a lot of Elvis stuff to be in spirit with our Bubba Ho Tep movie.
Oh,
that we're talking about.
Bubba Ho Tep?
Bubba Ho who?
Bubba Ho what? Did you want to talk about that ho-ho?
Yeah, Bubba Ho Tep.
Okay, let's get into our movie chat.
Let's talk about Coscarelli.
Let's talk about Don-Dons.
Don-Dons.
Let's talk about Don-Dons. Let's talk about our fave scenes, talk about the movie, get into our knives ratings before we end our another fabulous episode of Scream Queens on the Road Trip Podcast.
Are we allowed to say it's fabulous? Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, I think I'm fucking fabulous.
Fuck you, I'm fabulous.
And I think you're fabulous, Soul Survivor.
Thanks, girl. So yeah, favorite scenes. Who's going first?
You go. I think I went last time, so you go.
I'm gonna go with kind of the final showdown.
Oh, damn, final showdown.
And there's a lot of other things I like, but that showdown kind of has everything I like about the movie. Like, there's some good suspense, when they first show up and they're waiting for the mummy to show up. And like I mentioned earlier, I love that shot where he's panning around looking for him. You get the point of view of Elvis, and then you see the mummy emerge from the trees. That's like a really good, solid, frightening little shot. It's also funny. You have Elvis and Jack trying to fight off the mummy, but they're old men, and they are actually fighting like old men. Like I said before, it's not like all of a sudden they're learning new tricks, and we're like, oh, look, they could actually kick a mummy's ass. No, they're pitiful, and it's kind of funny and sad, and then the ending is really kind of sentimental.
Yes. Oh.
And sweet. I like that about the movie.
Okay, so Josh is going with the last 15 minutes of the movie. Wow. I concur. I love your fave scene. It's a goodie. I'll go towards the beginning. I'm gonna choose our Grandma Ethel. I don't even know if that's her name, but it's what I think of as this little old Ethel lady.
Little Grandma Ethel.
And it's she's not a good old lady. she's a naughty lady who steals the spectacles off of her friend, and that she goes and like pets her friend and is like, oh yeah, you're okay, you're in this iron lung, steals those glasses,
and it's like, see you, bitch,
and is like on her way gonna steal some chocolates. I'm just glad her comeuppance comes quickly.
I have a feeling that ladies are spirit animal though. Like that's us in an old folks home.
Oh no.
Like we're stealing glasses and chocolate.
No, we might be sassing and we might be delivering truths, but we're not thieves, and we're not gonna just take advantage of those less fortunate like that. No way.
Yes, you're right.
But we might be, telling people how it is when they need to know. But I do like, and it's our first glimpse of Bubba Ho Tep. When he stands there in his boots and his chaps, and he just looks great. The makeup is awesome, and I love the design of him. And oh dang, what's his name? I wrote Bob Ivy playing Bubba Ho Tep, kind of taking on that character, deciding like he's real stoic and how he walks. I love it.
She loves it.
I love it.
If you love it so much, Justine, why don't you marry it?
And I think that scene where she's kind of scurrying around to get that scarab, I am gonna marry it, by the way.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I was like, should I ignore his little comment and keep going? I'm not. I am gonna marry it. We're gonna get married on a fucking mountain.
Oh, girl, I've always wanted to go to a mountain marriage.
A mountain marriage for me and Ethel. But yeah, I like that one. It's funny, it's scary, it's you build up, and but I don't like this lady too much.
That is a good scene. Yeah, she's funny. Like she cracks me up.
And her even being dragged off.
Yeah, she's like, help me, woo! Yeah, it's great. That's
Girl didn't need no help.
There's a lot of wonderful moments. I like that the movie is over the top, but it takes the story seriously. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it takes the overall story seriously.
Yes, it keeps to the story. That's the truth. That's what's holding it all together.
This is
so
reality.
It's not making fun
this
of
is
that.
what's happening.
Yeah. But
and the situation itself is funny, and he does liven up the movie a lot with a lot of comedy. It's not just like I said earlier, sentimental. That last scene kind of, has comedy and horror and a little mixture of everything.
I think it's kind of a perfect B movie.
Yeah.
And I love a movie, and a B movie gets a bad rap for just being less than.
It's just an indie movie that gives no fuck.
Yeah, it's like it knows it's a little meta, and I like that. Don, as I call him when we're just laying next to each other, and like his cheek is nestled up against mine,
that's
and
so sweet.
we're just picturesque in our little bed. And I'm like, Don, that was a good little movie you made.
Don.
And he tells me, thanks, Steeners.
You guys should see them. They are just like the cutest.
Thanks. Okay, yeah, there's my fave scene. So, Knives ratings. Should we? Could we? Would we give it a Knives rating? I would, of course.
I'm going to go with a solid 3.5. It's like a solid, like, B movie, B plus.
Yeah.
It's not an A or an A minus. It's like a solid B. If we're doing grades.
We went from Knives
I couldn't figure out what a B would be. Like a B. Would it be a 3 or a 3.5 on our 5 knives?
Or would it be
rating?
a 4?
No.
A is
all right,
5.
I'll go with 3.5. 4 to me seems too high.
Yeah.
I'm going 3.5.
Okay.
Are you going 4?
I was going to go 4.
But
I think I'm gonna go 4, and I appreciate your 3.5. But I think it's deserving of a 4 because it's still elevated.
It took a dare on a wacky concept.
Yes, and I appreciate it for going to that kind of okay, yeah, this is outlandish. It's it's not Elvis, none of that, but go with us, and you do, and you're rewarded at the end because you're pretend Elvis. He gets the asshole sucker out of the way.
That's right.
Asshole suckers no more.
I mean, yeah, this movie has everything. Asshole suckers, Elvises, JFK in the body of a black man.
Talking
Played
about...
by Ossie Davis, who's an amazing actor.
Exactly.
So.
It goes there in so many ways.
It's going there. It's going there. It's getting there.
It's going there. It's going down that avenue. It's going down that beltway. It went down that boulevard. Hells yeah!
So Memphis, Bubba Ho Tep. It was a great time.
Oh my gosh, guys!
We didn't see Elvis. I was hoping maybe he'd just come out at Graceland and be like, "Hey, stop the presses. I'm still alive.
I'm here." Yeah, we didn't even see an impersonator around, and maybe that's just because of COVID. You can't just be walking around. What would Elvis be walking around with his face mask on? Like,
or maybe they don't allow it.
Oh, yeah. Who even knows? What do you think, Josh? Think this is where we end our podcast? We don't have a...
We're still figuring out September's episode. Don't worry, there will be a September episode. There will be an episode 56. Just because of COVID, everything we had planned. We had something planned, and then we had a backup, and both of those are canceled.
Yes.
So we're still just trying to... We want to bring a good episode to you. We don't want to do anything half-assed, so...
And just because, so we're going to... hold off on announcing anything. We don't want it to be convenient. We want it to be everything.
So we'll figure it out, and we'll let you guys know soon on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. You'll see some in the next few weeks about what we're going to do. But
so that means check our Twitter, check our Facebook, check our Instagram, get on thatscreamqueenspodcast.com. Come give us loves, give us reviews.
Yep, give us that 5-star review and jot down a little review for us. So a 5-star review and a written one, please.
If we could we want to give some shout outs. We love just